today. All right. So for those who just first time joining in, and also for those who our loyal audience and all, I would like to introduce to you what is CHOP basically. So CHOP basically is a campus community well-being. Which also a content creator that discusses various topics related to multimedia universities communities. So when I said communities, you guys must be wondering what does it mean by multimedia university communities. All right, so basically there are four communities that we would like to feature and also include in our content, which is the first one is MMU current students, the second one is MMU staff, including academics and also non-academics, and third one is alumni, and fourth, which is very rare or yet to be seen by any content creator, which is vendors or others, which is this category fall into those people who basically our security guards, our janitors, our vendors, either food and F&B vendors. All right, so basically that is CHOP. Okay, so before I'm gonna start for today, I'm gonna be your host, I'm gonna be your MC or say moderator or anything. So for the first timer who actually just joined this session, my name is Ika Zulkifli and I am currently a master student in MMU, majoring in social entrepreneurship. All right. Okay, so we're not going to take too much time in introduction because this is not my session. Okay, so for today's topic, the title is transitioning into adulthood. So basically, this topic is quite relevant and also might be related and also high demanding by SPM leavers and also freshies, the undergraduates who just entered for MMU for their intakes, either April and July, and also coming soon we're gonna have in September intake as well. Basically, they're transitioning from high school students back entering university, and also some might need to juggle between work and also study given the situation of the pandemic at the moment. So we're gonna deep dive into that. All right. Okay. So for those who actually are watching us right now, you need to know that you basically can watch us in MMU YouTube, MMU Malaysia, MMU Malaysia TV YouTube, or MMU Malaysia Facebook. All right. So you can choose either two. And of course, in any webinar, in any sharing session, there will be questions that you want to ask to the speakers. So we have three platforms that you can actually ask questions to the speakers. The first one is actually MMU FB. Second one is MMU YouTube. And if you would like to remain as anonymous, if you can see at the bottom crawler down there, that's www.sly.do, and you need to use the hashtag TIA. All right, when you enter Slido, you need to use the hashtag TIA. So whatever questions that you guys gonna ask, you guys will be remain as anonymous. Okay. So that's all for the introduction. As you see in this poster beside me, you can see that we have two speakers, and I would like to share with you that three of us is basically MMU alumni, where Putri Elizafira and also myself, we are the alumni of class of 2018. We basically took the same major, but for Madam Aina, she's not the same batch with us. So basically, she's a bit pioneer, legend, I would say, than us. All right. So for that, I'm going to bring to you the first speaker that we have is Putri Elizafira, which is usually known for me and also my friend is Ellie. Ellie, are you there? How are you, Ellie?
Hi. It's
Are
good
you
to
good?
be here.
Yes, after so long, right? Even though it's virtual.
Even though it's virtual, but nice to leap out with you.
All right, okay. So the second speaker that we have is Madam Aina Rusli. So basically, she is FOM lecturer and she's basically majoring in accounting. So with that, I bring to you Madam Aina. Hi, Madam. How are you?
Hai Ika, Assalamualaikum everyone. Hai.
Okay, I think first question that majority maybe your student will be wondering, are you going to be singing today?
We'll see. We'll see towards the end.
All right, okay. So for those who don't know, Madam Aina also can sing, and trust me, she has a very superb, nice voice. All right, okay. I'll get
Thank
back to
you.
Madam Aina after this. Okay, so without taking too much time, okay. So we're gonna deep dive to the serious, I would say, somehow a serious topic or a serious content. Okay, so the first questions that I'm gonna ask, I'll be asking to Ellie. Okay, so Ellie, of course, I think you, since we graduated back then in 2018, it wasn't that long yet. I think perhaps it's just like about 3 to 4 years back then, right? So I would like to ask you back then, what were the challenges that basically you faced in your first job as a fresh grad?
My first job, the challenges, because I went for a multinational company. I've always wanted to work with a multinational company. So the barriers I had would be language barrier because they are from Hong Kong. So their first language is not English. Secondly, I would also say the working environment is a fast pace because it's a startup. So as a fresh grad, you're like, what are we gonna do? Like who do we look to? Because working with a startup, you basically have to take on multiple hats. So that was a bit of a challenge for me, knowing how to adapt to things, time management, and things like that.
Okay, so I think somehow when you're saying about multinational, of course, it always be about the culture and also the mental health and also perhaps maybe culture shock. Okay, so maybe when most of the students back then when they were studying, when they were a student, they didn't really care about how serious is the ethics, mental health, and also they well, back then when everyone was young, they didn't care anything, right? So when you first entering your first job, right? What was the most, I would say, the first one thing that you juggle or you struggle a bit to actually to have the comfort environment when you just entered your first job?
I think it was saying no. It was saying no to people. Like sometimes you have already a workload and it's a lot. And then you have your seniors telling you, oh, can you help me with this? Can you help me with this? So it's a bit like difficult, to say no to them because then you wouldn't want your seniors to not like you. But then I learned a way to tell them no, but in a subtle way. You know what I mean? Because it's for my mental health at the end of the day. Like I wouldn't be having enough sleep because I'm doing other people's jobs, and I wouldn't be doing my job properly if I keep saying yes to people. So it's about the balance. But sometimes you still help them. Tapi if you cannot do it, then you still have to prioritize yourself and your roles.
Okay, for those fresh graduate, right, who just entered their first working place, their first job, of course they will have some kind of scared feeling to actually say no, even though actually they know their own capability. At the end of the day, it's always back to them. So, what was your treat or what was your initiative back then? How did you say no by not saying no?
Thank God for marketeers. We read along the lines. So, like for example, it depends who it is. So, if it's your superior, you can ask them, okay, I already have ABC to do. Can you help me prioritize what job task is more important so I can focus on that? Or if it's senior, then you tell them, okay, I can help you, but I have this. So, is it okay if I come back to you in maybe an hour, 3 hours, or tomorrow? So they should be able to understand because they can't tell you no, you have to focus on my task, because it's not even your job scope to do it. Yeah.
All right, okay. So I think at the end of the day, I think for those who are actually taking marketing or anything, you guys will always learn something called sandwich technique. Like you can always say a good thing and then you top it in the middle with some kind of criticism or saying no rejection and then you cover up again the bottom layer with something nice thing. So it sounds much more legit and nice rather than saying no, I don't want. Okay, so the next question that I have for you, Ellie, right? I believe that majority right now, given the current situation, pandemic and everything, sometimes you, even though you're majoring in marketing, but you always need to do some other things other than marketing. So back then, did you have any experience that you need to do any job that other than your own major by back then?
I was quite fortunate that my superiors trust me. So I was leading the marketing Malaysia team. And with that, I needed to learn things that are outside of my job scope. Like, for example, in the uni, I learned C++, and then for work, I had to learn HTML to do website. So it was, for me, knowledge is gold. So regardless of what it is, even if you tell me, okay, now Ellie, go learn, sometimes it's outside of my job scope. Let's say, go learn how to do like florist work. I would say yes, because why not? Like at the end of the day, okay, go learn how to do barista maybe. Like it's okay because knowledge is gold. There was nothing really, like for example, what did I have to do? HTML, and I had to also I had to also do PR work, even though they had a PR team. And I was a fresh grad, so I really didn't know what I was doing. So number one, you wing it. Number two, you really have to have good mentors to tell you to guide you on how to be a good leader and to have better context in your job roles, basically.
Okay, so I believe when we're talking about the challenges of the graduates when they are basically finding jobs and all, right? So back then, how was the maximum time period, or how long did it take for you to actually after you graduate, and also for you to get your first job, and how many applications have you submitted?
Oh, okay. That also I was quite lucky. Okay, let me just tell you. This is quite off topic, but in case it helps anyone. So, in the key of finding a job, especially when you're a fresh grad, during your internship, you should already know where you want to be. Like, how do you envision yourself in the future? So, it usually goes to like two routes. So, first route would be if you like working in fast paced and you like learning even outside of your job scope, then I would say go for startups. And then the second one, I would also say if you like working in a specific, how do I say, expertise or department, go for big corporations because it's more of medium pace, but at the same time, they will send you to numerous trainings for you to understand um, your skill set and your job role. So what I did was for degree I have to do an internship. So during the internship, I already knew okay I want to work with a multinational company. That's how I see myself in the future. So during internship, I already applied for those companies, and once I scored the internship offer, I knew that I had to give them 24 hours of myself and 7 times a day in a week for me to just show them to be the key player of the company for me to get a job. So that is actually one of the hacks. So like take internships seriously because that is you paving your way to the future. And even if let's say you've already graduated and you did your internship and you didn't get a job there, you didn't get an offer, it's fine because at least you already have a skill set of oh, okay, I've been here, I know how it is, internal logistics and things. And like I said, like knowledge is gold, you'll never lose for learning more knowledge.
Okay, I'm interested when you're saying when basically during your internship time, right? And also I believe when you already start working, you're gonna devote yourself 24 hours times seven, okay, with the working environment and also the workload that you have. So how did you juggle back then during your working time and your personal time and lepaking chilling time? Because well, we all know back then when we were studying, we were not even progressing anything other than chilling and lepaking. So basically, how did you juggle with that?
um I think I was I was also in the same phase of life with my other friends. So this just started working, you know. So it was normal for us to bring a laptop while we lepak, you know, like win-win. Best of both worlds. But I feel like honestly, internship it's usually 3 months to 6 months. So push through in that 3 months to 6 months. Honestly, it will pay off. Even if you don't get a job offer there, you will get a good reference from the company that you worked with.
Okay, so I believe that everyone must be wondering if Ellie is still working the multinational that she's basically working. But I'm gonna keep that question later on because I think after when for the next session later on, you guys must be like draw a job like what? She's basically switching for
Modern
something.
people.
Okay, I'm gonna keep that. All right. Okay. So we're gonna have something. Okay, that I actually requested to her. I said, okay, Ellie, I need you to share with me a photo. Like one photo that consider as a memorable one, or basically something that basically wow. So you guys must be wondering what the photo is. Okay. So we're going to project the photo now, basically side to side with Ellie. All right, and you guys need to be alert which one is Ellie. I'm not saying that she changed a lot, no. But when we had our first dry run, also some of us like, which one is Ellie? Okay, so maybe if now by anytime soon, maybe within 5 seconds from now, you're gonna see the photo side to side with Ellie. All right, okay, now you can see on the screen. That's basically Ellie. Okay, so if you're wondering which one is Ellie, maybe you can use your magnifying glass and then find which one is Ellie. So Ellie, why? Okay, can you tell us about this photo or the event that you basically joined back then?
This event is called the Story 15. Yeah, I look so young. So this event was called Story 15, and I remember it was a day before the event that I couldn't even sleep out of joy because the event consists of big influential speakers like Tun Mahathir, Datuk Siti Nurhaliza, and even Datuk Khairuddin. They were there to speak of their life experiences and also advices. And I think it was just a cherry on top for me having that opportunity to meet such big people because nowadays you don't even see them, you don't bump into them in the malls or anything. And to have them like right in front of me, 10 feet away, is truly a blessing.
Okay, so back then, this time, right? Were you during your foundation year or were you in your degree time?
I was already in my degree.
Okay, so it's already on your degree. So back then, when you were in foundation, did you join any event, any big event or anything?
I did. I would usually join because I like to play in uni. So if it means that I can get extra merit and I can skip classes with permission, I would do that. But it paid off because I got to know people from different faculties. I get to know how to manage my time because obviously, even though you skip class, you still have to do tutors. You still have to do your assignment, and you also have to catch up with what the lecturer has taught because if not, you wouldn't know how to do your assignment. So it was a good time for me to see my capabilities, who I can meet, who like how people from different faculties think. It's honestly different. Like I think marketeers think differently. I think people from IT think differently, and it's so amusing for me to see how we can come together and make it work.
Okay, that's very nice to know. Okay, I think just now in the beginning I forgot to actually introduce to everyone what was her major. So basically both of our major back then was the same. We basically started off our university time in 2013 during our foundation in management, and then after that we pursue our bachelor in marketing with multimedia. So I'm not saying that FOM is so relaxed and chillax, but maybe marketing we didn't have any such thing as lab tests or anything, so it's a bit relaxed. That's why maybe majority we always involved with events. Okay, thank you, Ellie. I will come back to you after this with more questions. Okay, so we already know that from early perspective, I would say fresh graduates or still the group of not above 30 years old yet. So basically, it's quite close. The age range with us that might be her sharing quite applicable and so relevant to us. Okay, so we already know from her perspective as a single person and having not yet married and all. So we're gonna move to our second speaker, which is Madam Aina. Okay, so the questions for her is a bit different. Of course, we're not going to ask the same thing as how we actually ask Ellie. Okay, so madam, don't be so nervous. I'm not going to bomb. I'm not going to bomb you with any serious question. Okay, so the questions that I have to you, right? Basically, back then when you transition between be a students and then after that you being a career person and then you transit someone to be
A wife.
a wife, right? And then after that, now currently you are basically be an entrepreneur, right? So of course people must be questioning like how you juggle between the responsibility and all. So I think maybe taking into the sharing session given by Ellie just now, the transition between the students and fresh graduates is already pretty much relevant. So now maybe for you, maybe you can really like how actually you transition from a single and then also you get into marriage, you married, and after that you are being a lecturer as well. So how did you juggle then also the responsibility for something that you never experienced before and something that is like
Exactly.
commitment and
Yeah.
responsibility?
Okay, thank you so much, Ika. Okay, now I would like to just pinpoint back of what Ali mentioned earlier on changing hats. I believe that goes well with the transition. I mean, if you want to transit yourself from being single to married life, and then to have a child, to have a family, and then out of nowhere suddenly you came up with your own business. So it's basically uh it's basically regarding on how you manage yourself with changing hats. So what Ali mentioned just now is same goes as what I want to give the takeaways here. So if you from a single, right, but when you transit to have a family, it's where at the point where you know your what do you call your commitment. So like Ika, I don't know, Ali is already married,
Nope, we are both not yet at
single
the
and
moment.
available.
Rather not to say.
Rather not to say, okay, so for example, just to be fair, okay, so for example, like Ellie and Ika, so you guys are not married yet, so you still have the option of choosing the best. So once you get married, you need to make sure that you have the partner that would understand you, that would support you on what you want to do, so these are the essential stuffs that you need to have. Okay, because once you're married, okay, you need to just like I refer back to our religion to just be redha with the qada and qadar, okay, and to make sure that how you're gonna go about that, how you are going to manage that. So like for me, alhamdulillah, I'm just lucky to have a partner that understand me and support me in a way that I'm even able to open a business out of these pandemic times, because what happened was that these new norms, right, they've made our learning become so different in a way. When it's an online, it's a virtual learning, we don't have anything much more to the other than having a communication online like this. So what I believe was that number one is to manage your time, okay, time well. And one way is, how why I started the business was actually to explore, a new area that I've thought previously. Before, I've thought about entrepreneurship, I've thought on business management, organizational behavior. So even though I'm an accounting lecturer, but I do thought other subjects as well. So to to just explore actual stuffs is really cool. I mean, to have a business of my own is really cool. Because as compared to just give some of the just a formal sharing with the students. So I would believe time management is number one, and changing hats is number one. So what do I mean by changing hats? It means that when I'm at home, right, I need to know my priority. My priority is number one. So if I'm at home, so my hat would be different. I cannot use the same hat as I were when I'm in front of the student. So the mindset would change, because we basically in our life we are playing roles. What we are doing right now, we are playing roles. So if let's say right now I'm a host with Ika, it's an exciting thing to be here to just share with the audience. I believe I have my students here with me, probably my colleagues are here with me, okay. So I would say that what do we call playing the roles effectively is very important. So when you're at home, when you're with a family, when I'm with my little girl, so my role would be different, my attitude would be different, okay. And when I'm in academic, my role also will be different. And when I do business as an entrepreneur, my role will be different. So it's basically changing hats. Okay. So if we talk about entrepreneur, right? So how I juggle with time, it's actually there's no reason for it. When you have the passion for it, you love what you do. And I started the business with something I love. Okay. Basically, it's me and my sister. So we love baking. We did scones, and so we don't have any excuse for that. It's something that you love. You would stay up for hours just to study on how to make the perfect scones for weeks. We did that, and we have no excuse. And it's actually part of an exciting journey to just go through that moment together. Okay, so I think that would be one of my feedback on the question. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, madam, for that. When you actually said about changing hats, right? So I think that's some things that very very nice, and of course, you must be having a lot of hats at home, right? And
Exactly.
also, okay, but being a academician, right? Of course, you're gonna have also some. Good times. Sometimes it's very annoying day. It's very stressful day, and then after that you go back home. Of course, you can't bring all these problems back to home and express to your family. Is not fair. So basically, if let's say it's either two, if you're having a bad time at home, how immediately you trigger or change your mood. Okay, I cannot bring this back to my colleague, to my students. It's not fair. And also same thing if at maybe if at campus, right, you have a very bad day that someone just make you so annoyed and like, I just need to let this go. So of course you can't bring back that at home and then let go express to your family. So how did you differentiate, or maybe you change it not to actually, we can say, bawa emosi to someone that actually don't deserve for that?
Well, thank God I can sing. That will be my bonus point, you know. So when you can sing, right? I think this is what I learned from my father. He was actually in a very, tense space in his work area. So how he, what do we call, in a way, uh, taught us. So it naturally goes to me. So for me, you can express in so many ways. One of it is through prayers. I would say that that's one of the best way of how to just express all your anger, all your frustration. Sometimes not every day is your day, right? Sometimes you could bump into a situation where your students might did something like triggered you, like what Ika mentioned just now. So I would say number one would be through prayer, even though it's quite, I don't know, okay, but that would be number one, and number two would be to express. If let's say you can sing, you please do sing. Sometimes it doesn't matter whether you have good voice or not good voice. Singing actually relieve you in a way. It gives you a sense of relief. So this is what I've been practicing, but at the same time, I believe I'm just thankful for having the trait of being really patient. I think if people know me, the patience that I have. So I think that would be one of the reason. Even though some people frustrate me, I can still smile. So somehow, if I say people say just in front of me, I could just stand still and just think through in a way that would not trigger myself. So probably that would be one of the advantage I have. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think I do agree that with you that whatever it is, of course, at the end of the day, nothing can beat the calmness that you get once you actually devote yourself to your creator, praying and everything. Okay, when you're basically had back then a transition from students and then an academician and then a wife and then a mother and then after that entrepreneur again. So back then, if something that you could identify, how basically for you actually to prepare yourself before you actually changing or get those responsibility, meaning like what actually first thing first, if someone said what actually we need to prep ourselves with that before we actually going to change after students become a career and then after that into the family whatsoever. So if there's at least one, okay, one thing that you're going to tell that you need to
Okay.
prepare in terms of what would you say?
Oh wow. Okay. Actually, that question I've been prepping for so long, because I've been thinking what is the number one thing that I could give a good advice on this. I believe it would be um I think it goes back to your purpose. Like what are your goals, right? What are your goals? What are your intention in making the next step? Like for me, when I started my academic when I started my career as an academic, so I need to know what are my goals, what are my intention of working in that environment, in that area. So of course, I have a good friend who did told me that to just do a self assessment of yourself. Self assessment is very good, and to do self assessment, you need to be very true to yourself. You need to know, you need to list down all of your strengths, okay? Truly list down all of your strengths and identify all of your weaknesses. That would be to me one of the starting point that is good in order for you to jump into the next what do we call next phase of life. So for me, I started my career not with MMU yet. I did before graduation. It's 6 months before graduation. I did work in a primary school as a teacher, as a replacement teacher. So I do realize that even actually in my family background, my both parents are all academics. So it goes naturally to me that I love to teach, I love to spread knowledge, I love to seek knowledge. Okay, so that goes naturally to me that I think this field would be something that is valuable for me. Yeah.
Okay, I'm very interested when you said about intention. I think maybe my intention, life goal is actually just to be a student. That's why until now I've been studying for 8 years straight. I don't want to enter adulthood. Not yet. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Okay, keep studying. Keep studying. Okay, you don't have to be an adult. Okay, okay. So for those who don't know, Madam Aina background in FOM, basically she's teaching accounting. She's basically have accounting background. So let's hear from her the perspective from an accountant or accounting expertise, okay, how to actually prepare with financial crisis.
Okay, thank you so much, Ika. I think this is a very interesting question that I look forward to 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 engage with. Obviously, yes, I am an accounting lecturer, accounting background. But if you're asking me an honest advice on how to, go over about financial crisis, I would always refer back to my mom. I mean, one of the best person that I would take advice on financial management. I mean, she'd be, hacking us up on to save savings, to cut unnecessary spending. Okay, so these are all some of the things that we learn from the beginning of our life. So when financial crisis hit, right? For example, if let's say, okay, touch wood, if let's say, okay, something happens to you, okay, maybe you are hit with debts, okay, huge debts. Okay, one of the first thing that you should do is definitely to check your condition, how serious it is, how severe is your financial condition. So this one is actually what we call an advice to students, especially. So if let's say you are in a condition that's very severe, you definitely would need to seek help, a professional help, probably from financial expertise. Okay, but if let's say you are dealing with a situation where a situation where you need to just to protect the financial condition that you are in, that will be a different situation. I think financial crisis, to me, happens, we can see, okay, with the current pandemic right now, what happened to people, what happened to businesses, when the coronavirus hit us, right? We could see many businesses shutting down towards, I think, the past 2 years. We would see permanent people, right, permanent jobs have been laid off. Okay, so these are some of the things that trigger financial crisis. So if you don't have savings, if you don't do savings, I think I did read this one good article whereby there are couples from the banking industry, and they did not realize the importance of savings until both of them got laid off. So they, in fact, had to share this excruciating situation where they had to deal with the financial crisis without a proper savings. So I believe to overcome financial crisis from the beginning, right, guys, you need to make sure you have some bit of savings. Savings could save your life as well. Savings would definitely help you out in this condition, like this financial crisis condition that we would never expect to happen. Coronavirus, I mean, the pandemic happens, right? Really, really gives, a new overview about the importance of saving up. But it doesn't mean that you need to totally save up everything, right? It doesn't mean that you can't what do we call spend on something that you love or you leisure. The ability to properly plan or divide your saving is what important to me lah. Okay. Mm.
Okay, so basically that's her perspective, in terms of handling financial crisis. I think that's still one thing that I cannot do. Saving and all this still I cannot do. I still remember back then my mom always said to me like, later on when your own banker, your own resources, financial resources are no longer around, then only you know how you actually gonna live susah ke what.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm like, well, when the day comes, I'm gonna think
My
about it.
way. Yeah.
No, I'm not going to think about it. So I think that's something that everyone needs to prepare. At first, maybe it looks like why we need to start now. But at the end of the day, better start now. I mean, better late than never. Okay, okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Aina. We'll come back to that later
All
on.
right.
Okay, so moving on, we'll be going to the next questions for Ailey. Okay, so basically for those, I think of course majority of you don't know that basically back then, after Ailey was working in the multinational company, she was actually a stewardess in Qatar Airways. Okay, so basically she flew all the way to Qatar and being a stewardess back then. So Ellie, I would like to ask you,
Mhm.
was being a stewardess is actually your dream job?
No. Never. It was actually a challenge from a friend. She's a Qatar Airways cabin crew, and then the interview was coming up, and then she said, "Why don't you go?" And I'm like, "Why would I drop my career as a marketeer and then just go fly suddenly?" And then she's like, "Why? You scared you won't get it?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay. I see you. I'll go for the interview." So that's how it happened. But then, okay, I went and there was like 1,000 people in line. So 1,000 applicants. And some of it went to cabin crew institutions where they study how to be cabin crews. And some are like experienced cabin crews from different airlines. And so me being a marketeer, I'm like, I don't know how to do coffee and tea, do service. I don't even know how to do first aid, those kind of things. So I thought, never mind, I'll just go because of my ego. But then it turned out of 1,000 people, they only accepted about 16 people, and I was one of them. So I had to really sit down and rethink, what is it I want to do? Is it okay if I go? Because I'll be missing out on a few years in my expertise, I would say. So, like Madam Aina said, you go back to religion. Like for me, I went to Umrah. And at first, I was like, okay, I'm never going to leave my career, because if I leave, then I don't know if I can get back the job that I have. So for me, I went to Umrah, and then suddenly I just had a change of heart. And I thought, if this is rezeki for me, who am I to push away my rezeki? So I went.
Okay, so basically that's a good thing to do, like when you actually get challenged and then you actually boom went for that, and after that out of thousands applicants, you get selected 16 of them out of 1,000, I mean thousands I would say, right? So it's something amazing to do. And also as we know that due to the COVID hit everywhere around the world, so basically of course airlines is something that basically affected the major hit and also affected. So due to that, Eli had to come back to Malaysia and also need to start again in the corporate industry. You need to climb back the ladder, right? So basically, when you actually, when you know that actually you will be coming back to Malaysia during that time before, when you were still in Qatar, did you already prepare what you want to do, or you apply any job, or what was the process back then?
Uh, Number one, I cried a lot first before applying to anything. So I did a lot of crying, and then I believe in rezeki. If the rezeki is for you, if it is, even if you're not Muslim, if it is for you, it will never go away from you. So you don't really have to. I think it puts us under a lot of pressure, especially in our 20s, to succeed, to know what we want. So it gives you an ease where, regardless of whatever you do, whatever life takes you, you know it is meant for you. So you don't really have to worry about it so much. So for me, I applied, yes, but more of it, I was more happy to come back to my family. And thankfully, I found jobs that I don't know, I feel like when you believe, I believe in energy. So if you feel like it's going to be okay, it's definitely going to be okay. But if you prepare yourself for the worst, thinking, oh, I'm definitely going to come back and I'm not going to find a job, I'm not going to be happy, la la la, all of that, then most probably you will go into that kind of slump. So, what I can say is just apply, do whatever you can, even if, for example, say you were a marketeer and you couldn't find a job as a marketing in a marketing department anymore, right? It's okay. Even if you work in an NGO now, I'm proud of you. Like you went out, you did whatever you can just for the time being. As long as you know that you are moving, you are doing good for yourself, you are not harming anyone. Like don't suddenly do illegal things, just to make it go. Yeah. So I think it's more on being resilient with yourself.
Okay, since I think I'm not sure if this question relevant or not because like all I can see from your sharing, basically whatever you're aiming for, that's what basically you work on and then you get for it. So
Yeah.
let's say, have you ever been in the position where you feel unsure with your own career path?
Um, I think that was when I was a cabin crew. So guys, even though it's a challenge, don't follow your ego too much because I was like, okay, the cabin crew, two years of contract, fine. But what am I gonna do after this? Like, how am I gonna go back into corporate world? But you have to do whatever it takes to be in that line again. So because for example, say I'm a cabin crew for 2 3 years, but that's not the whole period of my life. I have so many more. I have so many more years ahead of me. So I was thinking, okay, as a cabin crew, I can fly all over the world, right? So why don't I take this advantage to go for different talks all over the world, gain knowledge, see what I want to see in the world instead of like shopping. Of course, I do a little bit of shopping. Don't worry about it. Shopping is covered. But instead of shopping, like you also get knowledge, you see people, you see exposure, you get to know different markets, different niche markets for you to have a set of knowledge and skills in the future.
Okay, that's very interesting to know. At the end of the day, when you already decided to take the risk, you need to bear with it, and you need to come back with any solution that you know is much be benefit to you. Okay, Ellie, the last questions that I have for you before we go into the Q&A by the audience later on. What
Mm-hmm.
advice would you give to your younger self?
Oh, I'm still young right now. But if I were to give an advice to my younger self, I would tell my younger self not to be so worried. Don't worry about it. As long as you don't give up on yourself, that's good enough. Because some people say, oh, do it for your family, do it for this, do it for that. But at the end of the day, you only have yourself. So, and you only have one shot at life. So, why do your best at it and then don't give up? Even if you hit a bump, you have to remember like, this is not my happy ending. I will not stop here. So, you move forward. You will find ways to move forward. And you have your friends, you have your family. So, never give up. I know mental health right now is really bad. But if you give up now, then you wouldn't be able to see your happy ending. So that is what I would say to my younger self.
Okay, that's interesting to know that basically whatever it is, do not worry too much. You know, I have you know it's not a friend. Okay, it's not a friend. I have someone special. Okay, saying
Oh.
that saying that do not die until the day comes. So basically, just live yourself and do not think whatever it is. Just live your moment, and then when the time comes, when the day comes, then only you're gonna think of it. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you really for that. We're gonna come back to you for the Q&A session from the
Thank
audience.
you.
Okay, okay, Madam Aina. Well, I have a
Yes.
question for you. No, okay, we are. This is not a question yet. Maybe since just now you're saying about your business, scones and everything. So of course, I think majority of the audience are wondering what actually you are selling and everything. So I think I know what's the name of your business. So of course the audience do not know yet what is that. So okay, we're gonna show the logo of Madam Aina business that she's currently doing at the moment. Then she's gonna be explaining what she's doing, and if let's say you guys gonna get it, this is basically a promo time for her. So we're gonna put the logo of her business with Madam Aina side by side. Okay, so this is basically her business called Darling Baker Cyberjaya. Seeing the word Cyberjaya maybe is based in Cyberjaya. I'm not sure. Okay, so Madam Aina, you have 1 minute to actually promo your business.
Okay, thank you so much, Ika. Actually, this business is actually an initiative made by me and my sister. I have to say, credit goes more to my sister because she's the head baker, the one who invented the perfect recipe for the scones. So, if you guys, would love to try our scones, we have in chocolate and cranberry, what do we call a flavor? And currently, my sister, she made this new French pastry, which is we call it cannoli. I don't know whether you guys know about it. It's in trend right now, so you guys can try it. Okay, and please do check out our Instagram, darling.baker. And to know more info or just to contact with me, you can always click the link in the bio. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ika.
All right, okay, but we no, 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 you need to stay. We are not gonna dismiss you yet.
Okay,
Okay,
okay, sure do, sure do.
okay. The same question that I asked to Ellie, so I'm gonna be asking
Yes.
you, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Wow. Okay. I think I would just engage back to what what Ali mentioned just now, right? To just, what do we call, just tell yourself, don't worry too much. Okay. And I would just add in one more, which is to make more room for mistakes. Okay, I believe that throughout my younger life, right, I was so scared of making mistakes. Ended up, I did not even make one. I did not even start any because of the fear of making mistakes. So my advice to my younger self would be, make more room for mistakes. Just do it. If let's say, you wanted to do something, you are afraid of the risk, just do it. Okay, but at the same time, you just be aware on what we call the risk, or you need to be responsible of the mistake that you've made. Okay, sometimes because out of incompetency to deal with it, that's why you don't want to even start it at the beginning. For example, you had to say no. Okay, I even now having struggle with myself of saying no because I'm always a yes person. Always yes, yes. Ika asked me to, engage with this chop session. So I said, okay, Ika, yes, let's do it. Very passionate about it. So but this one is I love to do it. So this is not a no for me lah. But what I wanted to say is that if you are in a situation where you have to say no, probably it would affect your relationship with your friends, okay, or your friends would what we call apa panggil what do we call it, like neglect, is it, for not being with them in one, because friendship, right, they come in what do we call, in a group. So you have you have to allow to respect yourself enough, to set the limitation, for example, or maybe uh what are other mistakes? So many. I think I've come across a lot of mistakes I did during my younger times. I just didn't realize it up until now. So my takeaway would be, give more room, plenty of room for mistakes, for yourself, so that through that mistakes, right, sometimes the mistakes could be a, 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 a milestone for you to a better you now in the future.
Okay, that's very nice. To know that at the end of the day, of course, you can't worry of anything, and also need to make
Exactly.
a lot of mistake in order for you to learn. Okay, we have a question from the audience, specifically for you, Madam Aina. This student or audience basically say, how do you motivate yourself on being productive?
How? What's the name of the student again?
Okay, don't know because we need
Oh,
to
okay.
check. Because basically this person asking in Slido which his or she remain as anonymous, so I'm not sure.
Okay, okay, all right. So how do I remain productive? How do
Yes.
I remain productive? Is it
Yes.
wow, to remain productive? Yeah, I think is you have to have the positive vibes all the time. You have to have positive thoughts, positive vibes. That would be the motivation of you to be productive. And again, I go back to what I said earlier. You know your sense of purpose. Why you do this? Why you do that? What's the purpose of you doing? The sense of purpose will give you, in a way, the force, whether you like it or not, to be productive. Somehow, if let's say you want to change your life, so when you want to change your life, by force you have to do something about it. Or you said, okay, I'm a very negative person, so I'm always lazy. How am I going to be productive? So you somehow need to force yourself to be productive. And one of the way is definitely to bring in all the positive vibes, positive thoughts to yourself. Because for me, right, if I don't have all of these, I would not be productive. I'm not able to be productive as much if I have those all of the positive vibes, because it would hinder me to do a lot of things. It would hinder me to 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 move myself to become a better person, to do something better in life. So to be productive, to me, is to always keep your positive thoughts on check, and positive vibes on check. I think that's it. Yeah, and to force yourself as well, to be productive.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Madam Arna. So the next question we'll be having is for Eli. Okay, Eli, the question is quite long. Well, I think the explanation is actually long, but the question is a little bit short. Okay, so the question is,
Mm-hmm.
how should teenagers
Mm-hmm.
act in front of people? People keep expecting teens to be matured since we have already reached the high school or uni life. Technically we are teenagers as long as we are between 13 and 19 years old. Yet people look down on youth, hoping a hope of the nation when we try to voice our opinion. So basically, how should teenagers act in front of people?
Oh wow, that is a long explanation. Okay, how would you act in front of adults? Basically, by okay, I would say humble yourself. You have to. I know we young kids have resources to knowledge as compared to the older generation. You need to humble yourself for them to listen to you. Like for example, okay, for example, say my dad has a business. I would tell him, Ayah, why don't you do ABC? Because that is more effective that way. But because he thinks he has eaten more garam, like dah makan garam, he doesn't really want to listen to me. So how did I tackle the situation is by telling him, Ayah, this is for your own benefit. I am still learning, but what I've learned so far is this, this, and this. So if you could hear me out, that I would appreciate that. That's number one. Usually we talk to superiors like that. Number two, you have to also, because sometimes I feel adults overestimate you. Like you are 18 and suddenly you become a Cinderella and you have to be this adult. It doesn't work like that. So you have to remind them, I'm still learning. I am going to be an adult. You have to treat me like an adult because I can make my own decisions now. But with that, I'm also learning. So it's okay to make mistakes. Like what Madam Aina said, what I would have done in my internship days or when I was younger is to fail more, which I did not fail as much. I wished I failed more so I could have learned more. Because if you're young, you're a teenager and you fail, no one is really gonna like pinpoint, oh, you did this wrong, you failed. But now as an adult, if you fail, you might get fired. So it's really like take that time that you have as a teenager or like a young adult to learn from your mistakes, to fail as many times as you can. So you know you are rock solid at the end of the day.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Ellie, for that.
Welcome.
Okay. The last question we have from Madam Aina. The last question we have from Madam Aina. Uh,
Okay.
how to deal with worries that our degree will be useless when we finish studying and go to find a job.
Wow. How to again?
How to deal
How
with the
to deal with the
worries
worries.
that our degree will be useless and wasted when we finish studying.
Okay. Now, I think first of all, um, of okay, first of all, to me is to stop the point of being worried. To stop the point of being worried. I mean, when you enter into a program, right, like you're studying right now, you did your degree, it is not for nothing. It is actually you are seeking knowledge. As what Ali mentioned, knowledge is gold. Knowledge is actually power. You have the opportunity to learn formally, okay, on some of the subjects from various fields, even though you are in engineering, even though you're in IT, even though you're in management. So you cross your knowledge. I mean, I taught IT students for management subjects. I taught what you call engineering students for management subjects. So these are some of the things that you actually gain knowledge without. I don't know whether you realize it or not. You are actually gaining knowledge, guys. So if, let's say, for example, like what happened right now, right, with the pandemic right now, I do know that some of you guys, after get a degree, scroll, then you end up do business. That is not something that is bad, am I right? You're making money out of your own way. So how you're gonna deal with that is that, sorry, how you're gonna do that is actually through the knowledge that you've seeked when you learned in your study life. So when you what we call finished or complete a program, right, you actually are not in a zero. You are not the same who you are before you studied your degree program. You are a new person with full of knowledge, full of experience, especially when you do your interns. You manage to get experience through interns. You manage to get your friends. You manage to upskill your soft skills. You asah your soft skills. So you manage to make contacts, you have networking, you have friends. These are all actually equipped you for a better life in the future. So don't worry if, let's say, you just finished your degree and you are worried like it's not going to be beneficial to you in the future. No, it will never be that to you, I promise. Because the only reason that stop you, if you are the one who stop yourself from believing that you can do it, like what Ellie said, if you are the one who stop yourself from believing that you can actually do it, okay, even though you are from, you did your accounting program, for example. I have many students, accounting students, also did said the same thing, but it's actually not. It's how you strategize yourself, how you strategized your program that you have with what we call opportunity that you see, uh, opportunity that you see. So that would be the my advice for of
All
not
right.
to worry. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Madam Aina. Okay, then we're gonna have a last questions for Eli. Okay, the last questions would be any tips on how to focus on the life goals, because I have so many dreams I want to achieve in life, but I keep getting distracted and it's hard.
How to focus on which dream? Which brings in more money? I would say how to focus. Number one, you also have to look at the market. Like, for example, if you like to do business, right now it's e-commerce, for example. So e-commerce is booming right now. Look into it because right now is the most ideal time for you to go into e-commerce. The knowledge, the talks, it will revolve around it. So because right now, if you go into aviation, for example, that's quite redundant because I mean, yes, it's your goal, but it's not making money. So seize the moment as you see fit. Um, because if you want to be something that's not profitable, then you would honestly get demotivated. You would feel burdened by it. I'm not saying don't go for it, but you can be a superhero if you wanted to. Go do you, boo.
All right. Okay. Thank you, LD, for the last piece of advice for everyone. Okay. With that being said, with that answers by Ellie, that means we already reached towards the end of our session. Thank you so much to Ellie, and also thank you so much to Madam Ainar for actually attending, accepting my invitation to be featured on this program today. Okay. So we are not going to waste time anymore. I think it's almost 3 or maybe a little bit dragging in terms of the time, but we have two promotional posters and also two events that we actually going to share with you. The first one is basically a game or an event called Who's Got Game. Okay, if you see on your screen right now, basically this event is will be conducted by Faculty of Management student under the subject of project management. So for this event is basically sponsored by us by Chop. So what I'm not sure, okay, basically what's the game about, okay, but I think it's very interesting one and it's very interactive because you guys will have in a team of 5 and then you guys will be having a few games with your team. So you will be using a Google Meet platform as well. So for those who actually interested, you can scan the QR code there and then you can register your teams and everything. But if let's say you're gonna come back to this later on, you can always visit our social media because the poster gonna be there. So if you can see, the first champion will be getting 200. The second place will be getting 150 and the third one will be getting 100 ringgit. So scan to register as soon as possible that you can so that you won't miss this chance of winning. Okay, and then the second game that we have, the second game or the second event that we have is called Harry Potter. Okay, so if you can see in the screen, on the screen at the moment, we have Harry Potter, and also this is another second event will be conducted by Faculty of Management students under the project of management subject. So basically, this is called as Harry Potter. If you can see, you're gonna stand a chance to win cash prizes with a personalized Harry Potter bag. And also, please bear in mind that this event you're gonna experience a real experience of being. I'm not saying of being Harry Potter, but if you don't even watch or even read the book of Harry Potter, it's okay. You still can join. Okay, so you need to scan to register. Okay, so basically these are two events that will be coming later on. You can join and also you can follow our social media so that you can see all the updates from these two events that will be going on. All right. Okay. So for those who joined for today's session, I would like to say thank you so much for actually joining our session. Today is basically the second season of the second episode. Thank you so much for basically giving your time. If I'm actually lagging, I'm sorry because it's raining currently here and I can't do anything about the internet connection. Okay, so you guys must be wondering as well what advice would I give to my younger self, but unfortunately I'm not going to have any advice to my younger self because you need to fall down, you need to cry, you need to sweat blood, you need to experience every single thing. Don't listen to my advice now because I think because of that I am who I am now, so I'm not going to give any advice to my younger self. Yes, I can see I'm lagging, but it's okay. All right, okay. So with that being said, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe, and I'll see you again in the third episode, hopefully. Bye. Thank you very much.